Earthquakes, hurricanes, black holes. There are powerful forces across the ever-expanding universe, but the one above them all is death. Without a doubt, nothing impacts humans more than the Grim Reaper. The influence can be seen in individual, interpersonal, and societal levels. There's such a strong reaction to the topic that even bringing it up can be a daunting endeavor. This primal aversion is the reason why it's impossible for many people to accept death. Fortunately, it doesn't have to stay that way for you. The most important thing to cover is all the different forms it can take and how each one impacts life. Afterwards, we can discuss how to handle the different situations. One of the first things that comes to mind when thinking about death is the loss of loved ones. There's usually a period of sorrow, numbness, and even guilt or anger before the negative feelings start to ease over the course of a year. There are different paths through the grieving experience from person to person, but the general endpoint is that the person accepts the reality of the loss. They allow themselves to emotionally experience the pain, start to have other relationships, and adjust their routines to the new reality where the deceased is no longer present. Sadly, that is not always the case. Sometimes these feelings persist and don't improve even after a long time passes. These emotions can be so long-lasting and severe that it becomes debilitating and difficult to resume your own life. In these instances, the normal grieving process becomes known as complicated grief or persistent complex bereavement disorder. It is like being in an ongoing, heightened state of mourning that keeps you from healing. Just like many other mental health disorders, it can affect people physically, mentally, or socially. The causes vary widely from someone's environment, personality, genes, or the circumstances of the death. For whatever reason, it generally seems that complicated grief is more common in females and with older age. More concrete factors into the development are the circumstances of the loss. A sudden or violent death, like a car crash, will have a greater impact than one you can prepare yourself for. It is often more difficult to find closure when you are not able to properly say goodbye. The death involving a close or dependent relationship also gives extra burdens like financial hardship or new obligations. As with everything else, already having some pre-existing mental trauma just makes it worse. A history of depression, traumatic childhood experiences, separation anxiety, or PTSD is especially worrisome.
Here lie Squidward's hopes and dreams.
Whether they realize it or not, everyone has various aspirations in their lives. They vary widely from planning to run a marathon, getting a promotion, asking out a crush, or even waking up at a certain time. Whatever they may be, these goals provide meaningful insight to who we are and what our needs in life are. They allow us to bridge the gap between our real selves and the ideals we want to become. Succeeding in our dreams allows us to improve our self-confidence, relationships, health, and overall happiness. It is a pure bliss derived from enjoying the fruits of your own labor. It is something you manifested into the world and in your life. But what happens when your goals get utterly crushed right in front of your eyes? Due to how grandiose and complicated dreams can become, a plethora of them are never sought through. Even if people like spouting how it's never too late to achieve something, that isn't entirely true. For example, dreams like being a professional athlete can be out of reach even when you do everything correctly. A simple twist of fate, like not being born at the right time of the year or getting a single injury, is all that it takes for any opportunity to permanently disappear. It is one of the most soul-crushing things people can experience. There is the obvious pain of wasting thousands of hours for nothing in return, but the larger problem is the loss of self. Just like losing a job or the end of a relationship, you lose something that makes up your identity. You spend countless hours obsessed with finding how everything fell apart. Regardless of the circumstances, there's always a feeling that you could have done something different to change the outcome. It becomes incredibly devastating when you feel like this but have no idea where you went wrong. Any confidence that you used to possess will quickly vanish as you question every next move that you make. For the longest time, you just went along with your routines, but now you must reevaluate everything to decide what you want. It begins to contribute to a wallop of anxiety you get from having to suddenly adjust to the new life. For all these reasons, you wish for things to return to the way they once were. Even not taking your ambitions seriously does not stop this outcome. Not having the confidence in yourself to pursue what you truly desire can feel just as bad as failing. There will always be the unanswered question of whether your dream would have come true if you had given it a genuine try. There's a sentiment from within of how incapable you are. In the worst case, you will not be able to believe in anything anymore. There's a realization that the door of opportunity permanently closed for you. No matter what you do or how hard you try, you can never go back to when it was open. The worst part about it is the sense of emptiness you're left with when you compare how life used to be before your dreams crumbled away.
I want to play a game.
Sometimes the only thing that we can do is accept our lives for the way they turned out. We have seen the various emotional impacts that death can bring to you, but one of the worst aspects of facing a personal death, like a terminal illness, is figuring out how to tell other people. You must sort out what to say and how to deliver the news at the appropriate time while dealing with your swirling emotions. There are a lot of uncomfortable topics that will need serious discussion, like whether you want to be cremated or buried. Because of this, it can be practically impossible to bring up the harsh truth to all of your loved ones. Finding the correct approach is an extremely arduous task. You can hold a family meeting to explain the news all at once, or meet with friends and family individually to talk about your condition. In extreme circumstances, you may only be able to confide in a single person. Regardless of the approach, it is hard to predict how others will react to the situation, especially when it involves children. It's important to not completely hide what's happening and not give too much information at the same time. You always want to allow them to express their feelings and ask any questions that they may have. Let the child's primary caregivers at school, daycare, or church know what they are going through and make sure the children know who they can talk to. Many people will ask what they can do to help. If you know what that is, it's a good idea to tell them, or they will come up with their own ideas of how to help, which may or may not be what you need.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on! Ah! Yes! Yes!
All these different factors to death make preventing and combating debilitating emotions difficult without a more personal understanding. Ironically, getting closer to death brings a time of immense reflection and strong emotions. It is a time of finding what makes life truly meaningful and what can give you a sense of fulfillment. Far from being solely a somber event, death can serve as a reminder of the preciousness of life, the cultivation of meaningful relationships, and the pursuit of personal growth. We will explore the profound positives that death brings forth, offering a new lens through which to perceive this inevitable aspect of our human existence. The impermanence that gives life meaning. The transitory nature of life, highlighted by death, enhances the value and meaning we ascribe to our experiences. The awareness of our mortality compels us to embrace the present moment, savoring the beauty that surrounds us and cherishing the relationships we hold dear. Death reminds us that life is a precious gift, urging us to seize opportunities, pursue passions, and create a legacy that resonates long after we are gone. Fostering personal growth and reflection. Contemplating death prompts deep introspection, leading to personal growth and self-awareness. The finiteness of our time on earth serves as a catalyst for self-reflection, encouraging us to evaluate our values, priorities, and aspirations. In recognizing our mortality, we are inspired to live authentically, to nurture our passions, and to strive for personal fulfillment. Death, paradoxically, becomes a powerful motivator for self-improvement and the pursuit of a purpose-driven life. Strengthening interpersonal connections. The brevity of life compels us to cherish and cultivate meaningful relationships. When confronted with the reality of mortality, we tend to prioritize the people who bring joy and love into our lives. Death serves as a reminder to express gratitude, to reconcile differences, and to deepen our connections with others. It is in the face of mortality that empathy, compassion, and forgiveness flourish, creating bonds that transcend the limitations of time. Inspiring creativity and legacy. Death has long been a muse for artists, writers, and thinkers throughout history. The awareness of our mortality ignites a creative impulse, spurring us to leave a lasting impact on the world. It is through artistic expression, storytelling, and the pursuit of knowledge that we strive to transcend our mortality and leave behind a legacy. Death, in this sense, becomes a driving force behind the pursuit of human achievement and the preservation of our collective wisdom. Conclusion. While death is often shrouded in sadness and grief, acknowledging the positives it brings forth allows us to embrace a more holistic perspective. Death teaches us the value of life, encourages personal growth, strengthens our relationships, and inspires us to create a meaningful legacy. By embracing death as an integral part of our existence, we can live with intention, gratitude, and an unwavering commitment to make the most of our time on earth. Ultimately, the positives of death remind us that life's transience is not to be feared, but rather to be celebrated as a catalyst for growth, connection, and the appreciation of the human experience. To reach this peace, having a close support system of friends and family can be instrumental. They allow one to talk about their predicament by confronting their emotions and feeling comforted. For more extreme cases, going to support groups in local areas that deal with your particular type of loss or to bereavement counseling will provide more professional help.